With Secret Life finally here, the Life series is celebrating its 5th season. So let's look back and take a look at how the series evolved over its 5 seasons. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, everyone. I'm Chaotic Good, and today I'm going to be breaking down the evolution of the Life series. Let's go back to the start, Third Life. Over 2 years ago, in April 2021, Grian created Third Life. Him and 13 other friends, one small map, 8 sessions. The goal was simple. You have 3 lives. Your first one is green, your second is yellow, and your third is red. If you die while red, you are out. While green and yellow, your goal is simply to survive. While red, your goal is to kill everyone else. Pretty simple. The first person out was Jimmy, Solidarity, killed by Skizzle. The season ended in a final fistfight between Scar and Grian, which was won by Grian. Some of the main plot points of the series included the Red Winter arc, pizza, and the various alliances throughout the season. These alliances were the Desert Faction, Dogwarts, the Crassel, the Flower Valley, and the Village People. The Desert Faction included Grian, Scar, and their llama Pizza. Pizza was kidnapped a number of times and ultimately killed by the Red Winter people, sparking a major rivalry between them and the desert. In the end, Scar killed Ren and Martin, and the fighting died down, leading to the end of the season. After how well-received Third Life was, Grian promised a new season soon. Hence, Last Life was created. Last Life started in September of 2021 and lasted 9 seasons, the longest season to date. With the new season came new rules, mechanics, and players. The added rules were as follows. Red Lifers had to cut ties with all alliances when they turned red. This was to avoid a repeat situation like Red Winter, where Ren was red but still part of his alliance. Instead of receiving 3 lives, players were given a random number between 2 and 6. This added an element of luck to the game. The /give-life command was added, giving players the ability to trade for items, creating a valuable new currency. A number of items were banned: bookshelves, enchanting tables other than the one at spawn, enchantments over level 5, and helmets. A rule was added where all the players had to be sleeping in order to skip the night. Of course, the biggest change was the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman, or Boogeymen, was chosen at the start of each session, and they had one job: to kill a player that session or be demoted to red. As I said, there were new players this season, bringing it to a total of 17. These new players were Pearl, Lizzie, and Mumbo. There were a number of plot points and alliances this season, most of them revolving around the enchanting table. There was Magic Mountain with Joel and Scar, which was broken up by both of them being the Boogeyman and trying to kill each other. There was the Southlanders, one of the most successful factions, and definitely the biggest, containing Jimmy, Grian, Mumbo, Impulse, and Martin. The other contender for most successful faction was Team Best, containing B-Dubs, Etho, Skizzleman, and Tango. Another successful team was Pearl and Scott, who were the first people to get villagers, and Scott ended up winning. Aside from the enchanting table, another fighting point was the Wither. Throughout the series, 4 Wither skulls were collected and fought over, with each faction wanting to be the one to release the Wither. Ultimately, Team Best was successful, but it ended up doing more damage to them than anyone else. The first person out this season was once again Jimmy, who was killed with Mumbo after they failed to trap Grian and Martin. The final 4, Pearl, Martin, Scott, and Ren, decided to run to the 4 corners of the map and go from there to give everyone a fighting chance. Ren jumped Pearl, putting her in lava and taking her out with his sword. Meanwhile, Scott attacked Martin, who ended up blowing himself up. Then Ren and Scott played out a traditional Minecraft potions and PvP fight, ending when Ren was taken out by a passing zombie. Last Life is often considered to be the best of the Life series. It was certainly a lot of fun to watch. Next was Double Life. Started in June 2022, it lasted only 6 episodes, making it the shortest season so far. As always, there were changes. The concept of the Boogeyman was removed, and the life system was returned to what it was in Third Life, with each player getting 3 lives and red players being hostile. The idea of a single enchanting table was kept from Last Life, however this time it was located in an ancient city. The main change was the soulmate system. At the start of the season, each player was given a soulmate, whom they would share hearts and therefore lives with. However, they were not told who their soulmates were, and had to figure it out for themselves. Most players were able to return, However, Skizzle, Mumbo, and Lizzie could not. Also, golden apples were banned as they messed with the linked health system. Most players had not much trouble finding their soulmate, but Scar really struggled, despite spending most of the first session with his soulmate Grian. Pearl and Scott, as well as Martin and Cleo, did not find out their soulmates until the end of the first session. Now, there was less plot and story in this season than the previous one, so I'm just going to focus on Pearl. She was the absolute main character of this season. She was one of just 2 pairs who did not work with their soulmate. She lived and worked by herself, but remained on pretty good terms with everyone. She had a few different personas throughout the season, including 5am Pearl, which stems from her having to play the sessions at 5am due to living in Australia, and the crazy ex-girlfriend, which stems from her trying to attack her soulmate Scott despite their alliance in the previous season. She also kept a pet dog, Tilly, who became quite the icon and was even featured in her U2s earlier this year. Pearl played a risky game and was often saved by her Australian ping, essentially her bad internet connection in Australia. She had a wild final session, including a 2v1 takeout of B-Dubs and Impulse that can only be described as epic, and a final kill on Martin and Cleo. In the end, Scott blew himself up, giving Pearl the most emotional Life Series win. Once again, the first person out was Jimmy and his soulmate Tango. Moving on to the most recent season, Limited Life. Limited Life began in March of 2023 and lasted 8 sessions, same as the first season. The changes this time was a new life system based around time. Each player was given 24 hours, which ticked down as they played. A death gained you 1 hour, and a kill rewarded you 30 minutes. This season also saw the return of the Boogeyman, who dished out double punishment, 2 hours, and double reward, 1 hour. If the Boogeyman failed, they would be demoted to the next colour down. When you were above 16 hours, you were green. When you were between 8 and 16 hours, you were yellow. And when you dropped below 8 hours, you were red. These changes were added to allow for more relaxed, riskier play, because there was less repercussions for dying. To complement this, Keep Inventory was toggled on. As well as that, for the first time ever, yellow players were able to attack and kill green players. Skizzle returned for this season, Rendog departed, and Mumbo and Lizzie remained absent. However, Pearl and Cleo could not make it to session 6 and were filled in for by Lizzie and Gem. This season saw a surge in vertical play and TNT minecart plays. This was largely due to the bad boys, Joel, Green, and Jimmy, building their massive bridges known as Bread Bridge and Skynet. These bridges spanned great lengths, and their height made them perfect for dropping TNT minecarts. This led to some crazy shenanigans, and the decreased repercussions for dying allowed these to continue for some time. Green in particular achieved a number of triple and quadruple kills through Skynet. As always, Jimmy was the first player out, dying to 4 damage in a battle against the family, Cleo, B-Dubs, and Scar. The final 3, Impulse, Scott, and Martin, agreed to battle it out in a fistfight. However, this is where some lore comes in. Martin, who for all the Life series has been developing the lore of a kind of shadow persona that is essentially a devil's advocate telling him to betray everyone, Martin finally cracks and attacks Impulse and Scott, getting a shocking win. And now we have Secret Life. It began a few weeks ago and will likely last 7 to 8 sessions. This season is very different from previous ones. Each player has 3 lives with 30 hearts, however there is no regeneration. A player cannot be above 30 hearts except for very specific circumstances. There is the /gift command, which a player can use once per session. This gives another player a heart, and can put them above 30 hearts. As with the previous season, Keep Inventory is on. However, unlike the previous season, there is no Boogeyman, and only red lifers are allowed to kill. This season saw the return of Mumbo and Lizzie, and Gem making her first appearance as an actual player. Ren has remained absent. The main change this season is The Secret. Each session, every player will be given a secret task to complete. If they succeed, they are rewarded with 10 hearts. If they fail, they get nothing. If they reveal their secret, they fail. They have the option to re-roll their task for a different, harder one. The harder tasks grant 20 hearts, but if you fail, you lose 10. When gaining hearts from their secret, a player cannot go over 30 hearts. If they would go over 30, the excess hearts are transformed into items. It has been hinted that red lifers might have different tasks to other players, which may include killing, but we'll have to see. Also, I would just like to point out that Big B's tasks being red are completely irrelevant. He was just using the wrong texture pack. We don't know a lot about the potential storyline of this season yet, so we'll just have to keep watching. At the moment, the most powerful alliance seems to be the Mounders, consisting of Mumbo, Pearl, Joel, and B-Dubs. The only person who has died so far, at the time of writing, is Martin, but Jimmy is only on 1.5 hearts, so he will likely die soon. As always, I suspect Jimmy will be the last out, but as for the winner, I have a couple of different ideas. I feel that Impulse as a player has greatly improved over the series, even finishing second last time, so he is a potential contender. I also think that Mumbo has a pretty good start, so he could be it. Grian has also started well with a pretty good early setup, so he is looking potentially likely. Also, although she has not done much yet, Gem has proven herself to be an absolute beast of PvP on the Hermitcraft server, so she could be a major contender. We will have to wait and see what happens with Secret Life as the season unfolds. However, I will have a video soonish on the potential lore of the tasks in the Secret Keeper, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. Also, I am so close to 200 subscribers, so it would mean a lot if you subscribed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.